Good morning or good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, depending where you are joining us from today, and welcome to the webinar. My name is Zach Tallis from Business Review, and I will be your host for today's session. It is our pleasure to have George Clincial with us today, who will be discussing clinical trials. Can we do things differently? A perspective from the diabetes space. Today's guest speaker is Professor Bruce Neal, who's the Scientific Director for George Clincial and a Senior Director at the George Institute for Global Health. Ladies and gentlemen, I would just like to take this opportunity to remind you that you can submit questions using the Q&A tool at the right-hand side of your screen, and you can do this at any point throughout the entirety of today's presentation. We encourage you to submit your questions as early as possible. That way we can hopefully get to your questions first. We will allocate around 10 to 15 minutes to try and answer those questions. And if your question is not answered in the time allocated, please take note of the contact details, or don't worry, the team at George Clincial will be in contact with you in due course to answer any of your questions or thoughts. So with that being said, I would just like to hand over to today's speaker, Bruce Neal. Bruce, over to you.
Thanks very much, Zach, and thanks to all of you who've taken the time to join us today. I'd like to start.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that there, Bruce. Well, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, we've run out of time. So I would just like to thank you, Bruce, for what was a great presentation, and thank you to George Clincial for sponsoring this session. The presentation slides and the webinar recording will be available at www.business-review-webinars.com shortly. And that will be available, and we'll send you an email once it is. We'll look forward to sharing further webinars with you, so please do keep an eye out on the website just mentioned, and you can also follow us on Twitter at BRWebinars for daily updates, and you can also join our LinkedIn group, Business Review Webinars. So thank you, Bruce, once again, and I hope you all have a lovely day. Bye-bye.